This is my buddy Ryan Russo, and he has worked with me at DDD Experts, and he's now at Recruitomatic. He's recruited thousands of people, you guys, at multiple different companies. He really just has a life centered on leadership, and I'm super excited that you're on here to talk to us about building teams and recruiting and retaining. So
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Jess. What a terrific intro.
what is the number one mistake that you see leaders do as they're recruiting and trying to attract top reps?
Number one, you have to attract what you were attracted by. Like, you have to be that person. You have to be attractive yourself. But you also have to show tremendous care. You have to show your effort yourself. And I really, truly believe you have to work on the follow-up game a little bit too, especially when people get started. But when you first get people in, you have to establish like the non-negotiables. You have to establish more or less what the expectations are a little more again, and clearly get them to verbally commit to that. I think too often than not, we expect people to hear what we're saying, and then you expect them to do it, but they don't know. And then if you don't have a great training program, you don't have great leadership, or you struggle with that avenue, then these guys and girls that come in, they don't feel that sense of care, culture that really drives them to want to be with the company, especially when they're trying to learn how to make money, especially in a 1099 role. You have to have tremendous amount of care and time that you have to spend in the beginning. And I think oftentimes we find out that leaders think that just recruiting a person and doing a meeting is good enough. And that's not going to get you there.
No, I love that so much. You mentioned something, and that's expectation in my mind. It's really setting up a clear expectation. So many times we bring in a rep or somebody within our company, and it's all the exciting things. We only talk about what's good, but we don't truly set them up for success by giving them the true expectation. Knocking doors is brutal. It's nobody's going to babysit you. Nobody's going to, hold your hand going from door to door, most companies at least. And so you have to have a type of grit and competitiveness and a drive within you to want to go to the next step. And I think the way that we can do that and help with retention is truly through expectation. If we can set them up the proper expectation that job is going to be hard. It's not just rainbows and butterflies. And that's how we're truly going to set them up for success, is in the expectation set.
Oh yeah. I think, don't get me wrong, guys and ladies, think about when you got into door-to-door. If you've never done it before, so then I do want, I don't know if this call is everyone door-to-door. I'd imagine so.
And most of them are in door-to-door. So lots of them, we've got lots of reps on here. We've got a couple owners, recruiters. We've got, kind of everyone in the mix, but mostly door-to-door. Most of these are clients of Repcard.
Okay, cool. I think this next little bit of advice is going to really help you right away. Tell your story. Share it. Share how it was. Believe it or not, guys, I was a business marketing major. I fell into a trap. I just saw a guy that was in my opinion, wasn't as talented as me in sales and was driving a brand new expensive vehicle. And I asked him how he got that vehicle. And he said he works in sales and he sells door to door. Well, he actually didn't tell me he sells door to door. He just told me he was in sales. And long story short, I was just motivated by the money aspect of it. So you never know whose true motivator is, but you also, when I asked him, he was very truthful. He explained, hey, we actually go door to door. This is my second interview. The first one was just like excitement out the car. But then he got honest with me, and that's where I really fell in love with the opportunity, because at first I was scared. I was reluctant. I heard negativities about door to door, and I think everyone does. But when it's mentioned and articulated in a way that it makes sense, like he said to me, and I use this to this day, I say, like, one of the things that I think people have to understand about our opportunity is we don't measure our time. We measure more of the value and our effort, because at the end of the day, those are the two things we can really control, is our attitude and our effort. But time is an archaic measure that people need in corporate America to be accountable for enough time spent doing a job, when rather than why don't you put in 6 to 7 meaningful hours 5 days a week? And guess what? That's not even 40 hours a week. But go out there and be impactful and know what you're going to be asked to do. And this is the schedule. And I think a lot of times leaders don't share their story. They don't share their failures and let them know that it happens. I think I'll kind of land the airplane on this statement on this, but I think when I share with people how it was for me when I first started the first day compared to the second week, it really opens their mind. I'm like, hey, when I first walked in, I didn't know what to expect, and I felt like it was overwhelming. But over the time of continuously practicing and trying and having people tell me, oh, you're going to talk to, knocking 100 doors a day. I was like, by the time my second week came, I couldn't even do 100 doors because I was having so much conversation, because I was starting to get confident in the introduction and in the conversation and then my product. And so I think a lot of times you got to be honest, not to harp so much on that, but you got to be honest and you got to share your story and let them know that there is failure that comes to success, you know? And so I think that's a good point.
Yeah, for sure. Setting that expectation and telling your own story, being relatable, you guys. Like so many times we've taken out the vulnerability and sharing our story or we're ashamed of it. That's where true connection happens, where people can build that trust. Trust is built off of that. When we can, lower our guards, get vulnerable and tell our true stories. I love that so much. Bruce, so I already touched on this, but I love how you speak to this. What role does culture truly play, when you talk about being attractive yourself and that's how you're going to attract other people? What are those type of things? What role does culture and branding play in attracting the right talent?
I think a lot of you on this call might be wearing a pair of shoes that you won because you did your job that day, or maybe a new hat that you got, or maybe a new polo. I know this is like surface level, very, very minimal investment. But if you could build a cultural experience where people are competing for a tangible item or a goal that they all agree upon, or you break up people into teams, people feel that kind of culture. You have to understand, when people first start out, especially in door to door, the reason why their retention rate is so terrible is because, number one, there's not a lot of really good training out there, and I can plug my company in here, but there's not a lot of great training out there. Number two, and this is going to come right at you guys, and I mean it with absolute love. Leaders are lazy a lot of times, and they don't want to waste their time on people they don't think are going to succeed. You know how many times I've looked at somebody that on a surface level doesn't look like they're going to succeed, but their back or their life is against the wall and they're ready to go work 20 hours a week to go do it. I'd rather take that guy than the most successful, most attractive looking guy or girl that could sell, door to door in the past, because that's a person who's willing to go the extra mile. And in the beginning, everyone knows that's what you need to have, because eventually it becomes really easy. And you ask questions like, why is this so easy? Oh, because I got good at my skill set. I got good at my I had somebody who I could look up to who showed me how to do it. And I think if you don't have a leader or somebody you can trust to show people how to succeed, like that role of a trainer there that actually does the job is just as important as anything else.
Yeah, and it is so true. We judge a book by its cover. We're taught not to do that, but that is exactly what we do. We have this perception or this idea of like, yeah, I think this person's going to go crush it. And then usually they don't. Or the people that you think, oh, they're not going to last. And then they crush it and they surprise you. I've seen that time and time again. And it really just goes back to, not judging a book by its cover. And I would take hard work over talent any single day. Hard work will outbeat talent over and over again. And then there's going to be crazy times when you find a guy or a top person, top employee or sales rep that's got both. And the only thing that outbeats hard work is hard work with talent. And so that's the time that you're going to see that. And that's kind of an anomaly, really.
Let me add one more thing, Jess. That's a good point. But I think everyone has to have like a cultural thing a week, especially when you're first starting out. If you don't have like a Taco Tuesday or a Wing Wednesday or like a Fun Friday or Bagel Saturdays, get them in. You got to do something that gets them in. And as leaders, I mean this, we make a lot of money as leaders sometimes when you have a successful team. But when you're starting out, don't be afraid to invest in the cultural experience. Might cost you $100 to buy a bunch of bagels or, a bunch of tacos. But at the end of the day, that conversation interaction, and then you have it at 8:30 and 9 o'clock at night, so they work the whole day. You get the ability to get people to actually invest their time and effort that is important to getting their success and building that culture.
Nailed it. So many times I think as a leader or an owner, we think that those are silly. Those are like silly little things that don't matter. The small things are what matter. And it is those little cultural things like Taco Tuesday, Charlie's Fridays, like all of those things are truly what we're there for. That's where we connect. That's where we take part in the culture and where we're going to really be retained and last. So I love that. Relationships are built through those small things.
Maybe not Charlie's, though. A little expensive. But I like your taste there, Jess.
Yes, we still are. That's still a thing that's happening and carried on long after our time, which is so cool to say that that's a thing that we've built. So Russo, we talked about training and onboarding, and I'm passionate about this as well, coming from the door-to-door experts. How crucial is it for us to turn new hires into effective reps very quickly in order to see their success and their retention go up?
I mean, how do I say this in the nicest way possible? It stinks to get a person in and have them go through training and have them quit on you. It stinks to put investment. What's that?
That it's going to happen. So let us set the expectation that that's going to happen to you.
It's going to happen more often than you not. But if you have a regimented system, you have to understand recruiting is something that you do consistently. It's not something you do periodically or when you want to. You have to stay consistent because some days will be great, some days won't. It's just like a sales cycle. Some sales weeks are great, some sales weeks are not. But you have to stay and remain consistent because some people don't learn the way you train. And think about your experiences in previous companies in the past, or even how you became successful where you are now. If you didn't have some kind of understanding of what you had to do or someone that could show you how to do it, it's hard for people to be self-driven to do it on their own and learn what you know. And so you have to have a training system. I highly recommend you have a boot camp every Monday or Tuesday for your new hires and just stick to it. And it's going to sound like a time-consuming thing for some of you leaders who are doing a lot. 6 hours on the first day, commit to a couple things you need to do, technology, the pitch that has to be all mastered the first day, because otherwise you're going to throw them to the fire and they're going to feel like they were actually thrown to the fire and they'll quit day 2, day 3, because every interaction is crappy because they don't actually know what to say because they didn't practice enough, because their leader or trainer didn't have the time. And that's us. When you sign up as leadership, you sign up to be selfless, and you have to understand that's what you sign up for. Otherwise, you shouldn't be a leader.
Love that. Thank you. Really getting that training in quickly and holding their hands and being there, the boot camps. I want to talk about that for a quick second. That might be a new concept to some of you. If you are not hosting a boot camp for your new hires as well as your employees that are there currently or your sales reps, you need to be holding a boot camp. This is where you put together an agenda. Each day has got different contents that you're going to be training on, and it's a repetitive thing. We are always learning and changing and adding things to our companies, and these boot camps are a reoccurring event that is happening where you're able to just start fresh new people straight out the gate, right through the process, and also continue education for your current sales reps or employees. So if you're not familiar, got lots of different agendas and topics out there that you can figure that out or message me. I'd love to help you put that together, what that looks like. But training is everything. Your training and onboarding process, it is almost the only thing that matters at the end of the day. If you guys have great culture and you're attracting great people, they will not last and it will not work out without a good proper training and onboarding system, right, Russo?
100%. I've seen in the 2 IPOs the last 15 years be in this space, the only ones that had explosive growth were the ones that had a regimented training program and a boot camp consistently. Yeah. And it has a lot to do with success.
Yeah. And then speaking on that note, we talked about, training, but you will lose reps if you also are not getting them to be effective or see the effects of what they're doing in the first 90 days. So Russo, let's talk about like a ramp up system or a fast start, you'll hear it called. How are those things helping us retain reps and get them really going?
Yeah, the most important and most valuable thing you can ever do for any rep is getting them paid as fast as possible. Obviously helping them understand what they need to do to make the money. You should be doing it for them. However, there's ways that you can get creative when they first start out that you can bridge the gap of how they can succeed quickly, utilizing their own personal network, making sure they understand what our product is supposed to do, whether it's, guys, I recruit for every industry. So if it's roofing, if it's solar, if it's pest, if it's, lawn care, I mean, it could be anything. It could be insurance sales door to door. You have to make sure they understand the value, the sales process, and they have to make sure that they've seen it done before by somebody. And I think too often than not, we practice in the office setting. There has to be that office setting, Jess, and then there has to be the field setting as well. And that's the way you can effectively grow someone. And that's 2 days, and you can really do it like that. I personally believe when you get big enough, you just have a trainer that does it. But you have to get them to do office work, meaning that interaction where they have cultural experiences and feel vulnerable and fail and see you try. And then you have to have experience in the field, and they got to watch you. They got to watch somebody that's done it, and then you got to watch them do it. And this all will happen the first 2 days. And if they can't master this pitch, ladies and gentlemen, I can't stress this enough. They're going to feel very uncomfortable out there until they can master it.
Yeah.
And the pitch structure, not to get into it, intro, problem, solution, transition. Those are the four. Don't confuse it. Keep it simple.
Yeah, so simple. I love that. Speaking on showing them how it can be done or what you can achieve, showing them that it's a winnable game. We talked about this earlier of like, you have to show them the game and you have to show them that it's winnable and how to get there. And we can really just simplify that. But I want to take a quick moment because social media has played such a huge role in recruiting as of lately and, the last 5 to 10 years. And if you guys take a minute to do any of your research on some of these larger solar companies and their teams, or pest control is really awesome at it. There's some really great marketing companies out there. And we talk about getting in leads for recruiting, just as important as getting in a lead for sales. We look at that as the first sales is bringing in a lead. And that social media can play such a huge role in that. And what you'll start to see is they're showing a day in the life of the rookie. They're showing where it was when I started out as a rookie to what I am now. And now, I've achieved this. I'm hitting X amount in sales, and this is how I did it. But showing that it is a winnable game is truly what's going to show these guys they can do it too. If I can do it, you can do it too. And it is attracting people and bringing people into the fold. Cool.
100%.
Yeah, so I want to talk about a couple things. Let's dive into Recruitomatic, Russo. So Russo works for Recruitomatic, and they are a tool for recruiting, you guys. And not only does it have some automated reach out for you, but it also tracks all of your recruits and will give you your retention percentage, all of that. So Russo, tell me a little bit more about Recruitomatic. Dive into the depths of what it does.
Yeah. Let me explain this first and foremost. I was never the organized guy. Still to this day, I'm not the guy that's the data driven. I'm driven on the data that's created for me, but I don't create it. My business partner does. But one thing I can tell you is we broke the metrics down to like how much does it cost to actually hire somebody, and how much does one person make us on average. And I think those are two questions that every business owner should probably get familiar with, so that you know what kind of playing field you're at. And we found out that it costs about $300+ give or take to hire somebody who's going to actually succeed and stay with you. And so our goal has always been to break that number and be $250 or less, or even under $200, because that means we're doing something that nobody else is doing. And I think the more that we as a company obsess over that for our people, we break it down to the granule, like to the ad being posted at the minutes posted, how many times it was clicked, how much costs per click, where is getting the most attention out of the 5 platforms we're utilizing, where is our retention rates from those 5 different platforms. So we get real detailed information on where we're getting the best quality candidate for the best return on our investment. But that takes a little bit of time. But what's really cool about what we can do is we're able to identify that within the first term of actually us helping you out. And then we focus a lot of that attention on the one that's working. And then we can be nimble and find what's going to save us the most money, most bang for your buck, and obviously get you the most talent.
Right. Okay. So from start to finish, so you guys are posting ads for these companies. Is that accurate? You guys are
Yes.
you'll help them create an ad that fits within their culture that will work, and you may have to adjust that, but they'll post an ad for you and through social media and Google. Is that accurate?
Oh yeah, through various routes. Indeed, we take over the Facebook account as well. We really do a diligent job. I mean, one of my business partners, you probably know, is Sam Taggart. He's heavily invested in our company because he's a partner, and he does a great job getting the right kind of talent on his social. He's constantly plugging our company in there, which then drives attention to these. So what we kind of figured out some ways that people were struggling at recruitment. Number one, leaders don't have time for it. Number two, sometimes they don't know what to even say. But most importantly, they don't know where to go to get the right candidate or actually bring in the right kind of talent. I can't stress enough when people are like, hey, I want door-to-door reps. And they're like, and we're posting and they're getting people that are like 30 years old and they're like, nope, can't take this person on. It's like, we're very clear when we do, because I want to take it back a step. We do a 3-step process in one of our programs that I highly suggest that everyone does if they're not able to utilize us. You want to drive people to a webinar, in my opinion, if you want to mass hire, and then you should introduce their company in a very professional presentation way where you can go over the past, the present, the future, what the expectations are. Again, this is an important piece of, I think, building out the focus for the culture of them interacting and coming into your company is setting the right tone. And so we do a webinar for them for 15 minutes where we go over the company in detail. And what is the biggest problem when people are interviewing? It's time, and they don't understand the opportunity or the role. So you can hire a million kind of recruiting companies, but the same problem is always the same. The candidate doesn't know what the job is, doesn't know it's door to door, doesn't have a license. Maybe they do, maybe they don't, maybe they're getting one, doesn't know it's 1099. Like, all these questions have to be answered before they actually come and talk to you for real. And so that's one of the things that we do really well and effectively, from the way that we place our ads, the way that we interact with socials, and obviously the way that we communicate through AI, which is an entirely different story. And then we actually talk to them for real, for real. They've already learned a little bit about our company before they actually talk to us on a call. And then from that call, we pass them on to a one-on-one with the actual hiring manager. So now you're not wasting time with people who are, applied for a job. You're spending time with people who said, I want to work here. I want to hear more. I love what you guys do. I'm familiar. I'm fine with 1099. I know that I have to go work. I know I have to knock doors. I know I need my own car. Like, all these things that people just struggled with the candidate that shows up. And you're like, man, this one thing doesn't fit. And we figure out how to eliminate all that before they come to you. And that becomes very effective with your time.
Preach it, Russo. Yes, that's perfect. So you guys, they will post the ad for you. They will do the reach out. It's an automated follow-up to scheduling, get them on the webinar or whatever route you guys are utilizing. And then from the webinar, they can even do those calls for you. There's different packages, or you can do those calls yourself. So those interviews. And then after that, it's game over. So really, truly, they've got an awesome process down, and you guys could dive into that and see more of what Recruitomatic has to offer. But like he said, whether you're using Recruitomatic or whatever tool it is, you need to be able to track those. I know we had a person in the comments say, go a little deeper on the metrics aspect. So again, it's those numbers. So it's taking how many people, just like a sales lead, it's speed to lead. So we posted an ad, we got 30 people to the webinar. From those 30 people, we know that on average we're going to get maybe half of them, 10 are going to jump on to, or 25. I just said the wrong numbers. Math isn't my strong suit.
No, it's law of the 50s, Jess. I think everyone has to understand that if you can do 50% of what people on every route, like if 30 applied, 15 show up, 7 or 8 go to the next one, 3 or 4 go to the follow one, you hire 2. It's just, that's how it works. If you're even dialed on it, if you're if you're great at it, those are good numbers in door to door.
It take a little bit of time to be able to see what's working, what's not working, whether the ad is pulling in enough people, and you're going to find them through different avenues. Sometimes it's going to be an ad. Sometimes it's going to be reach out through Indeed. Sometimes it's going to be your own social media page, posting about the webinar, what have you. All of those, take those, and it's exactly that. Those metrics over time, you're going to be able to really have a dialed in system to know what your retention rate is, or how many you actually start and onboard from the day of webinar all the way through the process. So it's trial and error. It's going to take a little bit of time, but once you have that dialed in, then automatically how many you need to bring in on those webinars to get to the number that you're looking for. So they can help you with all of those metrics. I love that. I'm gonna just throw in a quick little plug. Everyone, just if you have questions, start putting them into the chat so that we've got a couple more minutes here. But before we wrap up, throw in your questions while we continue to move on. So Russo, give me like your top #1 tips on recruiting and scaling. So if people are starting from ground zero, they want to build out a recruiting system. We talked about, having some training, talked about culture a little bit. Give me like your number one piece of advice that these guys need to take back into their companies.
Yeah, Jess, I missed the beginning. You said, give me your four, and then it kind of cut out. Can you say that one more time?
Oh yeah, I apologize. So we've talked about a lot of different pieces, but if you were to say one thing on recruiting is like kind of the most important thing, what are A, those steps of recruiting, and B, what is the number one thing that you want these guys to walk away with knowing that this is the most important thing in recruiting?
Yeah, I got you. Um, it's a great question. I think one of the most important things that you can establish, and it sounds, I guess, cliche, is you need to establish the ability for them to understand that they will succeed there or will have the resources and mentorship to succeed. When it comes to 1099, when it comes to door to door, I think why anyone is successful is not only it's not by accident, it's on purpose. They put in enough work to number one understand what the job and what they're responsible for, but know what success or what it means or what it looks like through that training. Um, Everyone tries to skip that step, and it's just it needs. That's why I say have a boot camp. But if you're only bringing in one person every single week, then that is your main priority. Make sure that one person gets one sale that week, because then they'll come back the following week. And too often than not, I stress this so unbelievably in all the companies that I built, even the ones that we've IPO'd. The markets that succeeded faster had the leadership that put the time in to make sure that they felt like they were a piece and had a voice in that office, and that's the big piece. That's it.
Yeah. Okay, I love that. The last thing that I'll ask is, we talked about so many different things in recruiting, and we've talked about Recruitomatic, but technology is making the biggest difference in recruiting. And I think Russo, you've seen that from the beginning of door to door to now, how much technology is playing into that. Where do you see the next few years going with technology and recruiting?
That's my favorite question you've asked all day, because it's here, it's right now, and it's unbelievably shifting. Let me give you guys this little perspective. I was trained by the national sales recruiter who was the best for a major company that's been around for like 50 plus years. If I said the company, you would know who it is. And so, long story short, uh, I witnessed and watched him do his thing for about a month, and found out, and this is a little archaic for dating me, that it looked like he was the Wizard of Oz, and I was about to splash color on it. And luckily, then AI came at the same time, and it was like color equals 3D. And so, just to give you guys perspective, um, this AI transition for a lot of companies is going to save you time, which I know is an invaluable thing. But it's going to be able to interact with your people as well before they come in. We're already ahead of that. We're already doing that, and that's why we have so many different layers and different products, because we want to drive the best candidate to you guys and ladies, based on how much time we're putting in and how many layers we're putting in. And there used to be just a one layer, a conversation. Now there's like 5 to 10 different layers that we can add in to really source the candidate properly, and they don't even know that it's not even a real person half the time. And so I would imagine in the future, just so you all know, it's going to start to become a lot more automated, but it's really expensive, and so the software is expensive. But again, it's coming, it's exciting, and I think it's going to help filter out a lot of people even better than anyone else humanly can do.
Yeah, and speaking to those that maybe are scared or nervous about the changes or what's going on with AI or not knowing how to utilize it, and these, you get these AI bots that are doing this automated follow up and reach out to recruits. I would say that's the one thing to not be scared of is it is saving you time.
Oh
So
yeah, we're
not
training it constantly, Jess, constantly.
it is not going away, you guys. So we need to just get on board with it and understand that this is the new way of doing things. We've seen it happen and it is here to stay. And we can either, get on board or get out of the way because it's taken over. So,
Yeah.
and we can train it. We can train it, but it really does save us so much time. So don't be scared of that. Russo, I'm going to jump over to the chat. We've got a couple questions. Sarah says I feel like we're pretty dialed in with our metrics, and we are currently only booking around 40% of those that actually apply. any tips on getting people to respond to calls, text, emails, or actually speak with us?
Yep. This is gonna be a funny but easy one right away. We're a big fan of the double and triple call. Number one. We're a morning and afternoon double tap easily through text if need be, or if not more. We force them to tell us stop texting them. We force them to tell us to stop calling them. And it's not in a bad way. They've given us approval. It's just we know, and this is no disrespect. You guys knock doors before. You don't go to a house and ring the doorbell. Why? Because that's FedEx, right? We knock the door first, then we wait. And so, long story short, yes, got to.
I love that. Yeah, again, I think we kind of get nervous to it's like the dating game. It's like, should I text them back, or they ghosted me, or they didn't respond? Should I call them back? It's like, yes, yes, and yes. Stop being scared. Same in sales. You guys know, no, never ever be scared. You're gonna knock that door. You're gonna knock it again. You're gonna talk to them again. Sometimes it takes 2 or 3 touch points before you're actually gonna get inside the home. Same with a recruit. It's gonna take a couple of touch points, and you just got to continue to keep doing it until you get a no.
In
So
my mind, Jess, I'm changing that person's life for the absolute better. So it's my duty and I have to take that due diligence to do that, to provide that for that person. Because if I don't, I'm failing them and I'm failing myself and what I'm supposed to do. And I know you're probably like, no, you don't think. I think like that every single time. That's the way I felt about doors. Every door I knocked on, I was like, I'm saving this person so much money. I'm helping them out. Like, you have to feel that way, because I hate to break it to people on this call. You will feel it, and they will too when they hear you talk about it. That's why, yeah, failures feedback, success leaves clues. The only reason why I share this stuff with you guys, because I've been a rep, an owner, a director, and I failed so many times, so I know what is needed, and that's one of the most important things is follow up, the truth and the follow up, the truth that you want them, and the ability to consistently do it.
I love that perspective on you have something so good to share that you're going to get it out to everybody. And that goes back to exactly how I started this webinar, was talking about interviewing with the vision and showing them the opportunities. Sell the opportunity, not the job. We're here to show them what opportunities are out there for them and where this can lead them and where they can go. It's not just it's so much more than that. And they feel that from us when we get passionate. And our communication, 90% of it is nonverbal. They see our excitement, they feel our goodness, they see that we see the opportunity and see the potential within them. So it is our duty to share it with them for sure.
Can I share this one last thing, and I gotta probably jump pretty soon?
Please.
I always, I think this is an important thing, that as I got older in the business, I realized that people wanted to, they want to be heard, but they want to feel like they're part of it. But this expression you guys will learn from me today, you'll never forget. We're in the personal and people development game. I'm not in the sales game. I'm trying to develop people. Sales just the vehicle that's taking us there. And once you do that and you live that by that and you have your training interactions, you will develop people. Okay.
Someone is at the front.
Someone's at my door. Anyway, so I hope that was helpful. Jess, thank you so much for this time that I get to share with y'all. I love bringing as much as I can to people. I failed so many times, so I want to give you the cheat code as I can.
Yes, no, Russo, you crushed it. Thank you so much. You guys, I am going to throw in the chats, Recruitomatics, their website, excuse me, and you guys can click the link, check it out, meet with Russo or Austin Thompson or Sam or anyone on Recruitomatic and how they can help you. Last question right here. It says, overload on questions on the phone. They're speaking with a recruiter when we just want to get them in the door to meet with our sales managers. Again, I would just say the AI. Have AI answer your questions. You can train the AI bots, give them all of your knowledge base, and then they will respond to them and answer those questions so you're not being bombarded. So
and have a regimented structure of what you're gonna ask them for questions. I think too often than not, we just start talking and we talk over people. Like, have the points of what you want to say. We have a whole breakdown of what you should say in interviews so that you can really win the interview and make sure you know you're right, bring on the right person.
100% Russo, you nailed it. This recording, you guys, will be up on Repcard's training library. So if you want to check it back or you missed some of it, please head on over to the Repcard training library. You'll be able to watch that there. And Russo, again, I can't thank you enough. Thanks for being here today and
thank you for having me.
wisdom.
Thank y'all. Appreciate y'all. Go crush it.